All right, I'd like to welcome everyone out to the webinar. We're going to get started here in a couple of minutes. I see there's some people that are coming in. So if you're new to the Conversa webinar series, we will typically like to start at the top of the hour with the presentation. And then as we are going through the presentation, if you have questions or things you're not getting audio or visual or something's going on, you have a little control panel on your GoToMeeting viewer that you can submit questions. So please submit questions and I can get to those and answer them. If you're having any issues prior to the broadcast, send those over and I can see if I can help you. Or you can also, there's also a chat in there too. But for questions during that, please submit that in there, and then I can get to them. Also, for those that are new to the Conversa webinars, we will be recording the session and posting that to our YouTube channel along with our blog and our website. So if you take notes and want to go back and revisit anything that we talk about today, you can do that also, because that will be in the recording. We're really excited today to have Michelle Marchant with us today from Learning.Training, and she's got some great content that she will be sharing with us. So looks like we've got quite a few people that have come on now, so we'll get started here. So let me first introduce myself and kind of my role here at Conversa. I'll introduce a little bit about who Conversa is, why we do these things. So my name is Brett Danzy. I'm the sales manager here at Conversa, and we've been hosting these weekly webinars out to our audience for, gosh, it's probably 4 or 5 years now. And the whole goal behind it is we want to get out relevant content that we think is interesting and cutting edge out to our audience, and that we think is relative to those that also might have an interest in using Conversa. And today is no different than that. We'll be talking about how to maximize your marketing spend and get more out of the leads that you're driving. And that's one of the main goals of using Conversa is to do that. So we're excited for Listen.Training to come in and talk about that. So for those that aren't familiar with Conversa and kind of who we are, Conversa, we're a software company, and we have a software application that works with marketers and sales organizations that want to track how many inbound calls that their different advertising campaigns is producing. And so we can attribute that inbound call back to the origin, so you can better have an idea of what campaigns are making the phone ring. The second thing that we do is the software actually has kind of artificial intelligence behind it that analyzes the conversation that's being had between the agent and the caller on the phone call, and then we can provide data back to that. And so that's kind of what Conversa does. We're in the business of helping people understand where these valuable inbound call leads are coming from, and then maximizing your opportunities to convert those calls once you get someone on the phone call. So another little piece of house cleaning item, as I see more people have jumped on now. We will be doing a QA session at the end of the presentation. But if there is a question you have during the presentation that we haven't answered, you can type those in. You have a little control panel on the right there. You can type in those questions, and then we'll get to the majority of those questions. We'll get to at the end of the presentation. But if there is something that was unclear type that into, and I'll stop Michelle, and we can get that clarified during, so we get as much interaction as we can during the presentation. For those arriving late, I mentioned that we will be recording the session. That will be available on our YouTube channel and on our blog, so you can look for that later, probably sometime tomorrow. And then Conversa will also follow up with you if you have additional questions, interest in what we do. We'll follow up with you, and we can schedule some time to kind of do a more in-depth explanation of Conversa and how we could work with you. So with that, I think I've got taken care of all the house cleaning stuff. I will turn the time over to Michelle, and she'll dive into our presentation today, which is about the secret to tripling sales with the same marketing spend. So, Michelle, are you there? Are you ready to get going?
I am, yes.
All right, great. We'll take it away.
All right. Well, thank you, Brett, and thanks for everyone being on the webinar today. I'm really excited to be sharing our secret to tripling sales using the same marketing spend. So my name, like Brett said, is Michelle, and I have been working with this company for about 5 years now. When I first started, I was in customer service, sales, and account management. But for the last few years, I've been working as a coach and a trainer, and I absolutely love what I do. And I'm excited to be sharing this with you today. So today, we're going to be covering who we are, what we do, our secret weapon, and then we're going to be doing a little bit of training as well. So there's some stuff that you can take and start implementing in your business immediately. We've been in business for over 16 years. We've worked in a dozen different industries with hundreds of different companies. So right here, this is a very small handful of some of the companies that we've worked with. We work closely with each of our clients to create a customized plan for them. We run their phone calls through the automated speech analysis, which is that artificial intelligence that really tells you what's going on inside the phone call. And we also run it through our CLARC report card. And I will explain what that is in just a minute. But we send them monthly progress reports that show how they're doing on their phone calls, like did they use the customer's name? Did they really find out what the customer values? Did they ask for the business? Did they overcome objections? This lets them know what they need to work on. And it also shows them a 6-month trend so they can measure their progress and see how they're doing and how they're improving. And we also do monthly personalized coaching and training calls with their company. So this really helps with accountability and continued improvement. So our top secret formula is actually no secret at all. It's more like a lost art. We have helped the companies we've worked with double and triple their sales by simply teaching them how to create a wow experience for their customers. That is it, good customer service and sales skills. And today, that's exactly what I want to share with you. Through analyzing thousands of calls, we found that there's a direct increase in sales. When customer service and sales skills go up, close rates go up as well. And right here, you can see that on average, when an agent scores between 0 and 29 on their sales and service skills, they only have about a 16% close rate. Versus when they score between 90 to 100%, their close rate drastically improves to about a 79%. This right here is a big deal. By increasing your sales and your service skills, you will dramatically increase your sales. Like I mentioned, we work with a lot of different industries. So just to give you an example, in the retail automotive space, close rates hover around about 20%. So in other words, only about 20% of the people that call a tire dealer, an auto glass shop, or an auto repair shop end up actually coming in and buying anything. And then in the hospitality industry, the number is just a bit higher, so just about 25%. And that means that only 25% of the people that call actually book a room. Other industries have varying close rates. They follow a very similar pattern. So you can see good customer service is vital to any business. We at Listen.Training, though, we like to take it a step further. We help businesses create that wow experience for their customers, which makes loyal and lifelong enthusiasts for their companies. So we're going to be covering a lot of information in a very short time. We generally do this in an all-day training. So like Brett mentioned, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them at the end of the webinar. We use the CLARC methodology to teach professional sales and service skills, which easily double and triple sales. We also use this to measure progress. CLARC stands for Connect, Listen, Acknowledge, Recommend, and Close. So I'm going to be giving you some information today that you can take and start using immediately. And I'm also going to have a special offer for you at the end of the webinar. So if you're interested in that, just go ahead and put your email address and your name in the comment section or the question section there on that toolbar that Brett was telling you about. So like I mentioned, we use the Clarke methodology, which is Connect, Listen, Acknowledge, Recommend, and Close. We've found a lot of success in using this approach with our customers as well as the success our clients have found with theirs. This is the CLARC scorecard right here on the right-hand side. So we actually automatically just run calls through this, but some of our customers like to do it on their own, so we created this for them to use. And this is one of the things that we will be giving you as well. So they can actually listen to their calls and score them at the same time using this. Now, if you're thinking, I don't have time to sit down and listen to and score calls, because that is time consuming, I get it. But we have a solution for that, and I'll discuss that in just a minute. But the Connect section is all about connecting and building that relationship with your customer. This section includes greeting and politeness, asking for and using the customer's name, acquiring the phone number, and taking ownership. Now, the reason I want to go through and train you on some of this and teach this to you is because this is exactly what we teach our customers that helps to triple their sales. And so that's why I want to go through this. And again, this is something you're going to be able to take and start using immediately. We have found that this makes a really big difference. So we like analyzing the different aspects of a phone call and discovering what the results are. This graph is showing the close rate versus phone etiquette and asking for the customer's name. And you can see on here that when an agent scores very low on this, which basically means they're not asking for the customer's name, being polite, or taking ownership. And these are very basic skills, and you'd be surprised at how many people actually don't use these skills. But they only have a 14% close rate versus when they're scoring high and asking for the customer's name, which is going right along with, being polite and taking ownership, they increase their close rate up to a 61%. That is huge. So this really does make a difference. A customer knows if they want to do business with you within the first few seconds of your phone call. So this right here is your chance to make a good first impression. Tone is the fastest and easiest way to connect with your customer. It builds the foundation for your phone call. Have you ever thought about what your tone says to your customer? 14% of what people hear are your words, but 86% of what they hear is your tone. So you want to be positive, confident, and enthusiastic. And yes, you can absolutely hear body language over the phone. So looking at the picture of this lady, I'd say she looks tired, frustrated, maybe a little annoyed. And I know we've all been there before. But if you answer the phone looking like this, or sitting like this, your customers will definitely hear it over the phone. You want to keep in mind that this might be your 100th call for the day, but could possibly be that customer's first time calling your company. And right now is the time that you'll either create a great first impression that says, "We're glad you called. We're here to help you. We're interested in taking care of your needs." Or one that says, "We don't care, we're too busy, or we just don't value you." You only get one chance. So before you ever pick up the phone, you want to sit up straight, take a big breath, and put a smile on your face, and that will definitely come through to your customer. The next critically important part of the connect section is asking for and using the customer's name. When you use the customer's name, it really personalizes the phone call. You don't want your customer feeling like they're just a number or the next customer in line. You want them to feel valued and that they are your #1 priority. We found that when you use the customer's name in the initial phone call, they're 2.5 times more likely to do business with you. And as you saw on the graph I showed you before, there's a drastic increase in the close rate when you do this. I was reading a study that was done to find out what parts of the brain that people use for different things. And I found this really interesting. So what they would do is they would hook a bunch of wires up to their head, and then they would have them do something mathematical or logical, and it would light up a certain part of their brain. And then they would have them do something creative, colorful, and it would light up a different part of their brain. But the thing that I found most interesting in this study was that when they said the person's name, more parts of their brain lit up than any other. People like hearing their name. They connect with it. It makes them feel important and valued. And that's one of the reasons it's so important when we are on the phone with our customers that we get their name at the beginning of the call and we use it. A lot of times we'll hear, people at the end of the call asking for their name, which is just information gathering to close a deal. But you want to use that at the beginning of the call to really personalize that. Any time that you ask for the customer's name, or even if they just give it to you, you want to make sure that you acknowledge them immediately by using their name. So, for example, if somebody was calling me, I would say, "Thank you for calling ABC Company. My name is Michelle. Who am I speaking with?" "This is Jason." "Hi, Jason. How can I help you today?" I know that seems really simple and just kind of a common sense thing, but you'd be surprised at how many people either don't ask for the customer's name, or if the customer gives it, they don't ever use it. So again, remember, you always want to get that name and use it. It really personalizes that phone call. So now that we've made a good first impression by enthusiastically greeting our customer and then asking for and using their name, we want to gain their confidence. And we do this by assuming ownership and using acknowledgement statements. Customers want to know that they called the right place and that you are going to take care of their needs. So there are several different acknowledgement statements that you can use. Here are a few examples. "I can help you with that." "Let's get you taken care of." "I understand your concern." "I'd be happy to take care of that for you." You want to make sure that when a customer calls and tells you what they need, you don't just answer with "okay" or some other filler word that doesn't show that you're interested in their needs. Be confident, take that ownership, and build your customers' confidence in you by letting them know that you are going to help them. The next category is listen and acknowledge. So good listening hears the tone of voice and the intent of the caller. Listening and hearing are two different things. You want to listen with the intent to understand, not to respond. You can hear the words that they're saying, but are you really listening to what they mean? Listening requires you to focus and pay attention, not just plan what you're going to be saying next. You need to listen in order to really know what your customer needs. This is also where you learn and determine your customer's needs by asking questions and restating. This is all part of the next part of your phone call. So here you can see that when an agent scores low in this section, their close rate is generally around at 23%. But when they're asking good questions, listening and restating what the customer says, their close rate goes up to about a 58%. Again, that's another big increase. So you can see how important it is to really pay attention and learn good professional sales and service skills. It makes a difference. So to help you determine your customer's needs, you're going to want to ask good, open-ended, and probing questions. An open-ended question helps you to understand the needs of your customer. It shows that you're interested and that their needs are important, and it allows you to be the consultant, not just the order taker. Open-ended questions do not end with a yes, no, or one-word answers. Open-ended questions get your customer to open up and start talking. They generally begin with who, what, when, why, where, how, and tell me about. Again, this gets them to open up and start talking. You want your customer to be talking more than you. If you don't ask good questions, you won't know how to best help your customer. Remember, you want to personalize your product or service for your customer, and you can only do that if you've taken the time to ask questions and learn what it is they value and what's important to them. Now, a probing question is one that you ask based on the response that your customer gave to your previous question, and you want to use their own words. I know that sounds a little complicated, but it's really not. An open-ended question helps you discover the general need. The follow-up probing question is where you learn the specific need. Some examples of probing questions might be, tell me more about this, or I'm not quite sure I understood this. Could you tell me more about that? Did you like the one you had before? Tell me what you did or didn't like about that. A probing question is going to help you dig deeper and get more specific. So an open-ended question is like the framework to a puzzle, and the probing question is like the centerpiece to that puzzle. It's important to ask good questions so you can really learn what your customer needs, what they value, and what's important to them. Later, we're going to be talking about becoming a professional consultant, but you won't be able to move on to that if you haven't learned how to ask good questions. Now, even if your customer calls in and tells you what they need, you still want to ask those questions. Don't ever assume that your customer knows all the products or services that you offer or what will best solve their problem. Remember, you are the professional, so take time to find out if what they're asking for is really the best fit for their needs. And then all this information that you gather, you're going to be able to use as ammunition later on in the call when you're closing the business and asking for that deal. Customers like to be acknowledged and to feel like they are your number one customer. Restating will create that feeling of being valued and important because they're going to feel like you really understand and care about their needs. Restating is simply repeating what the customer just said. This lets them know you heard and understand their needs. This is an easy skill to do, but it does take some practice. When I first started working here and learning about all these different skills and restating, I came home and I started practicing it with my family and my kids. This is a great skill to have, not just for work and business, but for relationships, because this will really build a relationship. And after all, when we're on the phone talking to our customers, that's what we're doing, is we're trying to build that long-lasting relationship so they trust us. So I came home, and usually when people are listening to someone, they use filler words like, okay, yeah, that's nice. And we do that just to let the other person know that we're here, we're still listening. But if you've ever been on the other end of that, when you're explaining something and that's the response you keep getting, you feel like they're not listening or they're not interested. So I thought I would try this at home with my kids. Normally, when they'd come home and tell me about their day, I would just say, that's nice, okay. And this time I really listened and I restated what they said. So I said, wow, Gavin, that sounds like you had a great day today. You met a new friend during lunch and you were able to go out and play basketball with them. I mean, it was the easiest thing in the world to do, but it made the biggest difference to him because he really felt connected, like I was really paying attention to him. And so I just tell you that because restating is so important. It's important for any relationship, and it will really help to build that. So you always want to restate when you're on the call. Restating will go a long way with your customer. It's something you want to do throughout the entire phone call. Again, that just builds that trust in that relationship. Okay, recommend. This is where you become a professional consultant, not just an order taker. In this part of the phone call, you want to make a professional recommendation, build credibility, and share a promotion or special offer. This is something that a lot of people really skip or miss out on, is making a recommendation. They just let the customer take control of the phone call. They call in, they tell them what they need, they robotically answer their questions and end the phone call. There's so much wasted. There's so many leads that are wasted. In Conversa, one of the things they do is they help you to know where your leads are coming from. Something that we do is we help to make the most of those leads as they're coming in so they're not wasted. We have found that when you do this, the average close rate goes up 54%. Again, that's huge. People spend a lot of money to get that phone to ring. So knowing what's going on during the call and then how to make the most of every call is crucial. And that's exactly what we do. We help our customers to make the most of those leads and to get more sales. Anyone can be an order taker and ask a robotic list of questions, but that's not going to create a wow experience for your customer. You want them to know they're talking to a professional. You want them to know that you understand what they value, what their needs are, and that you have the perfect product or service that will best fit their needs. Like I mentioned before, in order to become a professional consultant, you need to be doing the skills that we've already talked about. A professional consultant listens to the customer. They ask open-ended and probing questions to learn what the customer needs, why they need it, and how it will solve their problems. They make recommendations based on what they've learned that will best solve the customer's needs. They educate the customer as to why the product they recommended is the best solution for them. So after you've listened, you've asked questions, you come back, you restate what you've learned, then you say, based on what you've told me, Jim, I would recommend this, and this is why. The this is why part is really important. You want to let them know why you're recommending this specific product or service, and you want it to be associated with what they value. So what did you learn that's important to them? What do they value? What are they looking for? And so you always want to associate why you're recommending something to what they value. Now remember, as you add this skill to your phone calls and what you're doing, you will become that professional consultant that your customer is going to feel confident in working with. The next part in this section is building credibility. This is where you share what makes your company unique, what makes you better than your competitors. This secures their confidence in knowing why they would want to do business with you. You also want to share any special promotions or offers with your customer at this time of the phone call. Now is when you want to ask for that upsell or offer other products or services that will complement what they're already interested in. And you're going to want to make sure, again, like I mentioned, to tie this in with your customer's needs and what they value. Now, the last section in our CLARC methodology is the close. During the close, you want to ask for the business, overcome any objections, ask for the business again, and always let your customer know that you appreciate their business. We found that a lot of people don't actually ask for the business on a phone call because they don't want to hear the word no. Don't be afraid of getting a no. We teach our customers, don't be afraid of getting a no. You want to ask for that business. A no simply lets you know which direction in the phone call you need to go. You want to ask for the business on every appropriate phone call. However, we found, like I said, a lot of people skip this and they just end the call. So I'll hear, as I'm listening to calls, I'll hear a customer call in and ask for a product or service or for a price, looking for prices, and the agent will give them a price. The customer says, great, thanks, I'll get back with you. And the agent just says, okay, and they end the call. And so asking for the business is important. You can see here that on average, if you are consistently asking for the business, your close rate will go up 57%. Again, that's huge, and that's something that a lot of people miss is asking for the business, and that's something that we teach in our program. There are several different types of closes. Today, we're only going to talk about a couple of them really quickly. The first one is the assumptive close. This is basically knowing that your customer has a need, you have what they need, so you're going to assume that they're going to buy it from you, because why wouldn't they? That might sound something like, when would you like to schedule your appointment? I can fit you in as early as this afternoon. Will that work for you? The alternate close goes hand in hand with the assumptive close. You're still assuming that they're going to be doing business with you, but in this case, you'll be giving them an option. Not 10 options, just a couple. A few different ways to do that would be, would you like the X or Y model? Will you be paying with your Visa or MasterCard today? Would you like to come in the morning or the afternoon? I have openings on either Monday or Wednesday morning. Which day would work best for you? So that's a few ideas of doing a close, asking for the business at the end of a call. So after you've made your recommendation, as soon as you do that, you want to immediately ask for the business, and then you'll confirm next steps, which is summarizing the phone call, letting them know what they can expect from you, and then what they need to do next. And then always, always, always end your phone call by showing appreciation for your customer and for their business. Let them know you're glad they called. Again, super simple, basic skill. It seems like it would be common sense, but you'd be surprised, really, when I listen to phone calls, how many people don't thank their customer at the end. They just end the phone call without showing the customer that they appreciate them. So it's really important. Good customer service is vital to any business, and we want to help you create that wow experience for your customer. As you pull all these skills together, it will create that memorable experience that you're trying to create for them, which will make them lifelong customers, helping you to triple your sales. Now, the title of this webinar was The Secret to Tripling Sales with the Same Marketing Spend. And we've helped companies do just that through our coaching and training programs. Now, you can also do this with the information that I just gave you. And this is exactly the things that we teach our customers that help them. And I've shown you the data to back it up. If you'll take this information that you learned today and start implementing it into your company, you will see your close rates go up and as your sales and service skills improve. It's not something that happens overnight, but which is why we like to show a 6-month trend, and so you can really watch your improvement. But as your sales and service skills improve, your close rates will follow that and go up as well. So I have a few things I want to give you to help make this even easier for you to take and implement this into your business. The CLARC scorecard, which I showed you at the beginning of the webinar, a 10-minute sales and service training video for your staff and managers. And we'd like to do an evaluation for you and send you our CLARC report card, which is a sampling of your calls, which will let you know your current status in telephone sales and service skills. There'll be details on your strongest and weakest skills, comparison and ranking with related businesses, and we're going to show you your greatest opportunities for improvement on there. I also want to send you our manager's guide, which is 10 steps to getting the best performance for your team. All of this is valued at $500, but we want to give all of it to you for an extremely discounted price as a thank you for joining the webinar today. So if you're interested in that, getting that evaluation and learning how you're doing and where you can improve, it's only going to cost you $98. But for the first 10 people that go ahead and put your name and email address in there, I'm going to give it to you absolutely free. So if you're one of the first 10 people in there to put your email address and name saying you're interested in this, I'm going to give you all that free. The scorecard, the 10-minute video, the evaluation, which is extremely valuable, and then that manager's guide as well. We have clients that take this information that I just gave you, along with the progress reports that show how they're doing the evaluation, and then they do their own coaching and training with it. And then we have some that have us do all the heavy lifting for them. So at the beginning of the webinar, I told you that I'd tell you how we can help you if you just don't have the time to sit down and listen to and score your company's calls, because, I mean, that is time consuming. It's very valuable though. So we have a few different programs that range from here's the data, you take it and run with it, to us managing and running it for you. This includes all that above data, plus customized monthly coaching and training calls. We do 2 live trainings at your location a year. You get access to a subscription to our Listen and Learn library, which is some really valuable online training on different sales and service skills. Also, we include a new hire sales and service training video. So as you hire new employees on, you have that new hire program to get them up and running and up to speed with your sales and customer service skills. And that goes into a lot more depth than just that 10-minute video. Also, monthly progress reports that show how you're doing in each of those CLARC sections, a 6-month trend that will allow you to track and measure your progress, the online training report so you can see who's completed it, who hasn't, so you can keep up on that. And if it's something you're interested in, if you want to take and create your own training for your company, we'll give you a license so you can create that training. You can upload it into the library for your company, and then you can manage it that way. All of this is something that we sit down and discuss to really customize it to fit your needs. So if you guys would like more information, you can reply in the comment section again, or send me an email. I'd be happy to just give you some information or ask any questions that you might have. So that's all I have for you today. Again, the first 10 people on there to let me know you're interested, I'd love to send that information to you. And just thanks for being here, and I really enjoyed sharing this with you today.
Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate your time. So I'll open it up now for questions. If anyone has questions for Michelle on any of the subjects or things that we've covered today, maybe need something to be clarified, you can go ahead and submit those questions in using your little control panel there, and I am more than happy to ask them of Michelle, or if there's something I could answer, I'm more than happy to do that also. So I'll open up that now for anyone that wants to submit a question. One of the things, I know the common question that I get, Michelle, that maybe you could answer is when doing training with your staff like this over these different subjects and tactics, what's the best way to give feedback to them? Is it in like group setting and personal setting? Kind of what's your guys's what you found is the best way to kind of coach someone up?
Oh yeah, that's a great question, Brett. We actually do both. We do coaching and training calls monthly where we sit down with everyone in the company, and we go through and do a training. We actually listen to their phone calls, go through them, and point out the areas they're really doing well on and areas that they can improve on, and how they can, get more business that way by really dissecting their calls with them. So we customize it that way. But then also, it's really important to do one-on-one coaching where you can sit down, you can go through someone's call with them, and help point those things out as well. So we actually do both, and both are really important.
Great. All right. Let's see if I have any other questions. Doesn't look like I have any other questions as of now, so it looks like we'll just wrap things up. Like I said, if you want to go back and revisit this webinar, we have recorded and we'll post it on our YouTube channel, and then we will also follow up with you if you have additional information via email or phone call. You can we could schedule a separate time to review any of this. So thanks, Michelle, again for your time and taking the time to present today, and I hope to see those that have attended. I hope we've got a lot of good information out of the presentation today, and we hope to see you back next week for another topic. So thanks again, Michelle, and for everyone that attended, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.